Let's address the first situation. You've lost another tooth. Two? Oh, rich boy, eh? All right, what's going on here with your sister's glasses on? Tell us what's going on, cool kid.
They come up with another idea. We're gonna have one on an angle and that one like that, but then then you come up with this better idea where we have like two bits of flat bar then join up.
Yeah, so what's going to happen? We're going to run two bits of tube off the diff.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, take you here.
There's trouble. Yep. So what else is going to happen then?
Then we're going to put a bit of flat bar at the back and front and maybe a bit of round bar in the middle.
Okay, so we're going to make a bit of a mount off the diff, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So we're going to mount the motor to the diff. Why are we going to do that? Remember?
Because the chain wasn't long enough.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons. But also if we mount it to the diff, we don't have to worry about a chain tensioner, all that jazz. We don't have to worry about this alloy chassis.
With the E-pins on. But then bike riding bit.
Okay, I'm going to ride your bike then.
But then how are you going to start it up?
What?
We'll
We'll make the cord longer. That's all good. All right, Henry kind of explain what we're doing. So we're making a mount off the diff. Henry's going to measure between these two pipes. When I get this the right spot, we make sure we can still get the bolts out of the axles. Henry's going to do a quick measurement there for me before my arms get tired. Just from outside to outside. What do we got? We got 280, about 280. All right, so 280.
With a body dip.
Yeah, what's happened? We flipped it over. I flipped it over because I'm going to clean up the diff here. It's just easier if it's flipped over. I've marked out where I want that tube to go, so I'm going to clean it up so we can get a tack on it. And then we can measure the other one out, put the other tube on the other side. These are the tubes that are going to hold the motor, part of the frame that we're building off the diff.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Do you even know what's going on?
No.
No idea. All right, that's the tack. I'm going to flip it over and see if it clears everything, and it looks good. Those two are tacked on there, about where we want them. Got some clearance over there. Got to make sure we don't hit this because the diff will move up and down. Obviously independent to the chassis because this does have some leaf springs there and some shockies. The motor's going to move with the diff, as we just mentioned before. It's the idea of doing it this way. I'm going to use two of these 200mm plates. They're 200mm long, 100mm wide. Same plate as we're using for the motor. We're going to use these to level the motor and also the height, change the height a little. And then once we get in the right spot, we'll tack them and then we'll build the rest of our mount. This is what I'm running with. Just got that round bar there to support it, keep it square. Only got some pretty weak tack welds on there. It's gonna make up the base of the motor mount, and then we'll have the engine sitting on there, and then we'll weld those tubes to the diff. We'll roll it over and weld the bottom. We'll come back and weld the top, and then we'll build some bracing, and then we'll get the motor to sit on there. We'll work out what we're going to use across here. Probably some more flat bar, and that's it. Let's roll her up, and I'm pretty happy that it's going to work. So I'm going to get stuck into get the motor up there one more time and have a quick look at it, and then go from there. So there's the idea, just testing out those 3 tack welds. They're holding that, luckily. For how long? I don't know. Anyway, there's the idea. Looks like we're going to be good clearance-wise. That shouldn't be a problem because it's going to move together. You can sort of get to everything there so far. So I think what we'll do is get those tubes welded to the diff, work out our bracing, and then move back to getting the engine mounted up after that's all reinforced. Right, I was fighting with this for a bit. I lost the wire, which wasn't good. Turned out a little bush under here broke, all disintegrated, and then that little guide wheel that has the groove for the wire dropped down and the wire jumped over. And that was the problem. But anyway, I got it sorted at the end. So there's some, one day I'm going to get a good welder, and I'm going to actually have to have no excuses to weld good. But anyway, we got that welded on there. Nice and strong. I jumped in it a couple of times. Not going anyway. Look, I'm pretty confident this idea is going to work. That's looking like that. Got an insulator here I'm making for there. Some non-hardening sealant to make it, you know, work, whatever I'm trying to say. Make a pattern, make the location there. So I'm going to drill those out on there, then I can use that also for the template on there. But this will be an insulator, stop a bit of vibration. Moving right along, we've got a bearing now that fits inside one of the tubes that we have here. That's going to be the start of our mount. It's going to have to be detachable though, because we'll need to be able to pull the cog on and off maybe in the future. So we're going to... Oh. I know, you got to ask Mummy, I don't have it.
The one you put on charge.
Yeah, I don't have it. Go ask Mummy. Anyway, so this, it'll be with Mummy. So we got this bearing. Where was I? Yeah, we got this bearing in this tube. I'm going to weld this tube to a piece of plate that's going to support this, but we have to have it able to be detached. So we're going to have to build a bracket. So for that, I'm going to enlist Henry's help, and we're going to make a cardboard template. Right, so Henry's making a real mess of this.
Trying to cut with these blunt scissors.
I don't think they're blunt. I think you're lame in tools when it's an operator issue. All right, let's get this cardboard cut out. It's not as hard as Henry's making it look. Watch your fingers, knucklehead. What's going on, water boy?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Right on the hot weld.
Cooling the hot welds down, water boys. So we got our template cut. There it is. Not going to bore you with the details. Then we turned it into this. That's obviously where our bearing goes. We're going to finish welding it. Well, we tacked it. We're going to put the bearing in, work out all the alignments for the other plate, and then we'll weld it all out together. But if you come over here, this is going to end up a little something like that. But we can't weld that directly to the diff because then we wouldn't be able to get this shaft out ever again. So we've got that like that. A little something like that. Obviously we'll have the bearing in it. And then this other piece that we've cut, it's going to go down here. Oh, there we go. It's going to go down here. And then we're going to put some bolts through this plate into that plate. And that'll be what supports the shaft. It's able to be removed, and we've made it low enough so it clears the sprocket when the sprocket goes off that bottom plate. And it sits as high as the top of the housing, like that. Good. All good. Let's get back to business. So that's our bracket. Bolted it on to hold it in the right spot. I'm just going to give it some tack welds and then have another look at it and then give it a final weld. So the bracket's welded on. Managed to get the welder working a bit better. Got some spicy caterpillars down this time. So I think I'm going to make a brace for there as well, so hold that bit extra support to hold that pipe, that tube there. So it'll just go across the top of the diff onto that there. I think that'll be enough. I think it's enough now, but just to be safe, in case, you know, someone decides to jump it or something. So now we can see how the thing's going to go together. So that way we can take it on and off to get the cog out. The cog sits, that's obviously, like I mentioned before, level with the diff housing, so that the sprocket can still go past it. And then we're just going to bolt this one on here, like this, so we can remove it, put some nuts on there, and then Bob's your auntie. Finish welding that out now that we're certain that'll work around here. And then that's done. See if I've got enough material to do that brace there, and we'll work out what we're going to do here with the sprocket. Whether we're going to space it with a bit of tubing or just weld to this, or I don't know. We'll have a look. Alright, let's see if we can lay down a couple of spicy caterpillars instead of that crap that was going on yesterday. I only got a small crappy little MIG. This is 5mm plate, so, and that's, I think that's at least 5mm wall thickness. Better knock that bearing out and then we'll run some welds around there. We shouldn't need too many, we just need to hold that in place. Definitely not Instagram version, but it's good enough for what we want. That'll hold it in there. Okay, we got the sprocket lined up. just like eye. There's going to be some movement. I think I talked about this earlier. I'm going to put this in here and then work out how I'm going to attach it. I think probably weld it to the sprocket, the washer that's on the sprocket, and weld it to this part of the shaft, this raised part here. So that should just slide over there. I haven't done one of these before like this, so I don't know how strong this has to be. I'm guessing it's strong enough. I mean, usually I just have some puny little 6mm bolts around here. So if you know it's going to be too weak, comment, let me know if I'm doing something wrong. But I think we're going to go with that for now. So what I need to do is unbolt all this again, this little bracket that we made, unbolt that, take the sprocket off, pull the shaft out, get this thing on there nice and straight, give it a bit of a tack, probably tack it on there, then work out. It might be easier to weld it on here, I think, because that way we can keep it nice and straight. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. This will be like a bit of a trial, I think. See how we go. We have the sprocket welded on. What I did here was, because we don't know about the gearing, so I don't know, this gearing could be off, might not work. So this sort of may get swapped, and because I didn't have any way of bolting it on, I didn't have a flange or whatever there might be to bolt the sprocket on. I'm guessing it's meant to go on a wheel or something. I don't have that part, so you saw I cut that pipe, a bit of tube, to go in between the sprocket and the original shaft. I've put some spot welds on here. I just flatten them down so that when we turn it, it doesn't look so unbalanced. In here, we've just got some welds on there. Nothing too crazy, we don't put too much heat in this, and also this may have to come off. So this isn't attached to the shaft except for at that raised edge there. So that means we can probably cut that off if we need to. You know what I mean? We could run the disc through there, and then we could take that off, and then we could swap the cog over and just remake that, which wouldn't be so hard. It's just a bit of pipe, which we have over 1 meter of, and a washer and a sprocket. Anyway, it spins pretty straight. It wasn't real straight when we got out of the box, so I think it's probably a little bit straighter. Maybe one of those welds got in the right spot. I don't think it's enough to upset it, but we'll see. You can hardly see it. It does a little bit, but that could also be just a bit of the movement. So we'll have to tighten that bearing up a little bit. So while I've got this apart, I might actually weld that brace that I talked about earlier, but it's going to require pumping up the tyre, the other tyre. Kids, eh? It's going to require pumping that up for the 100th time. Need some new wheels, tyres. So I might weld that brace on, and then what can we move on to then? We've got to start setting this fuel tank up. Got some fuel line here. A throttle cable. We've got to make a bracket for that pedal. But we'll get this finalised, and then we take the motor. Do we ever take the motor back off? Maybe we don't. But anyway, we'll work out the throttle cable and the fuel tank, which I think is going to end up outside, because there's just not enough room in here to put it high enough so that it's lower than the, or higher than the carby. Yeah, look, I'm watching a bit of street racing. Got that all sorted. Put a little stopper on the bearing. Got that all bolted up just to double check it again. Runs pretty straight, looks pretty good. I've got to take the motor back off though. Got to, what do I got to do? Something. I've got to work out this pull start before I can bolt the motor down. So I'm hoping the pull start here is going to flip around. I think it can. I've seen that before. So pull the motor out, pull that pull start out, the cord and everything, the mechanism, and we'll see if we can flip it so the cord comes out here to the front, or even up would be good. I mean, straight up there would be good too. Straight up through the body, so you just reach back and pull the cord. But I'll have to take it off and have a look. So I've done these 4 bolts. Pull the motor off, get up on the bench, and we'll have a look at that. Just like that, back on. Bam. I should have done that thing where people go, whoop. There you go, back on. Spun it around. We're going to go up the top with the pull cord. So it's going to go up like that and then go on the body. So you'll just have to pull it through the back of the body there. That should work. We're going to mount the fuel tank up on the body as well on the outside, just because we can't get anywhere high enough out here. What else? What else is going on? Put the exhaust back on. Might have to put a little thingy down here, maybe a little dump pipe, just to keep the heat away from the plastic, because that is plastic. The other thing is that this cog was a little bit big and it kind of fouls on the body, so we're going to have to cut that out. Just not to be able to have anybody sit on the back unless they want a little bit of a butt massage. And by that, I mean butthole torn open by a chain. That's the butthole opener right there. That's where the chain goes through. Yeah, that's all right. We'll clean it up when we clean the rest of the body up. Maybe it'll get a paint job, who knows. My little bracket, mounted the fuel tank up. I just used a standard post. I straightened them out so they went straight down. They were on a little bit of an angle to fit on the motor. So I straightened them up a little bit and used the studs that were already on the tank. It's got like a separate shell on the bottom. That's not actually the fuel tank. There's another layer there. And made a little bracket there, that cute little bracket to hold it just firm. Fuel line's on. Little fuel filter up in there, running down to the carby. A little tap there just for safety, or little kill switch so nobody steals it. What else we got going on? This cord pull, I think. What we're going to do, we're getting close to getting this ready to see if it actually works. All this work just to see if it will work. Anyway, let's put that up there. So I'll just eye it off and have a look, see where it's going to come out. And then it's got oil in it. It'll need some fuel. We can see if it does something, I guess. We haven't got a throttle yet, but it's just the hand control of the throttle there. But I don't know. Anyway, let's do that and then we'll call it a day, I think. It's already called a day, isn't it? We'll call it done for today. So that's going to be it. I'll put a little thing there for the pull cord to go through, but we won't be able to do that until we're ready to put the body down. Otherwise we'll be able to get the body off, because we'll have to tie a knot in the rope to go back in the handle, blah, blah, blah. That's what we're looking at. So now we've just got to do the throttle and a few other little bits and pieces, and we'll fire it up. Hopefully the next video will be starting this thing up and seeing if it's a win or a fail, see if it works. Anyway, done.